Hey everyone, really quick, time and task management online workshop happening on August 16th and 21st. It's the masterclass. I think we're only going to do one of those this year. So if you're interested, go to drummerinthegreatmountain.com/workshop. There's more info on it at the end of this episode.
The Drummer and the Great Mountain, a podcast where we share effective tips and practices for working with adults ADD, ADHD in a natural, effective way without the use of medications. Each episode, join me, your host, Bahman along with the author of The Drummer and the Great Mountain, Michael Joseph Ferguson. Join Michael and myself in an interactive discussion of sharing our stories as we journey together in transforming what can be the gift of being what we call hunter types. This podcast is intended to be your audio companion to the book written by Michael, who joins me each episode where we both will strive to foster dialogue, give you our personal insights, and share both of our experiences on this similar path that we are all on. Our intention and hope is that along with the book, this podcast gives you an additional perspective as you listen to us delve deeper into each chapter of the book to give you even more tools to go along with what it is that you are reading. Visit us at drummerinthegreatmountain.com to purchase the book and look for more tools, tips, and updates, as well as giving us feedback on this podcast. Join our growing global community of creative types, entrepreneurs, and out-of-the-box thinkers on our shared journey. Welcome to The Drummer and the Great Mountain podcast.
Welcome, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Michael Joseph Ferguson. I hope you're all doing well. So, this is 2025 marks the 10-year anniversary of this podcast. And we kind of can't believe it. We kind of just looked up and went, wow, we've been doing this for 10 years. And we were just looking at our stats the other day, and we have 40,000 subscribers. We've had like 1.7 million plus downloads. I think it's actually quite a bit more than that. It's unbelievable and kind of overwhelming because when we first started this was just a very organic thing. I put the book out. Obviously, I put a lot of time and energy into the book, but the podcast was never something I had even thought about doing. And thanks to all of you who listened, especially at the beginning, who stayed with us through all this time. We have so many people that have been with us since the beginning of this podcast. So in honor of that, to connect in with all of you and to connect in with the community, over the next few months, we will be featuring interviews with people from our community that have integrated a lot of things we talk about, who've been listening for a long time, and they've got remarkable stories. Oh my gosh, there's a few episodes coming up here that are just extraordinary and things that I didn't even know about some of these people who I've worked with as a coach and I've worked with them in workshops, but wow, phenomenal stories. You guys are going to love it. So I just really want to thank you all so much for taking the time to be with us for this journey. Some of you have been with us a long time. Some of you are new, but just thank you all so much for the support you've given us and joining us in our community gatherings and in our workshops. It just means so much to us. So me and Cuesta have been sort of at the heart of things for the many years we've been doing this, but I want to just give a big shout out to Bahman, who has been with us, who got this whole thing going, who was my co-host and who will be joining us. I just spoke to him the other day. He'll be joining us for some episodes here coming up. So lots to tune into, lots to check out here. Please stay with us. I know it's been quiet the last couple months, but we're going to definitely have lots of new episodes through the end of this year. We're going to try to aim for a once a week episode as best we can, at least through October. As you can imagine, I'm wired like all of you, and it's overwhelming. There's so much to do, but I know it'll be worth it. So if I'm in it with you guys. I know what it feels like when you hear me talk about overwhelm. I know exactly what that feels like. And I had a moment today when I was at the beach where I was running and I had all my thoughts in my head, and then I just ran past some birds, and I'm like, okay, and I just tuned it out, and then I like process it. I'm like, wait a minute, those are like snowy egrets, which I almost never see at the beach, and least terns, which are also really rare. And I just went, what am I doing? I need to stop. And I finished my run and I walked back and I just connected in with that moment and just appreciated the opportunity to live in such a beautiful place and take this in and appreciate the moment. And I thought, well, whatever I'm doing moving forward I can't be so busy that I'm not taking in moments like this. And I have to constantly remind myself daily, especially when I'm very in my head and working on things, that it's so important to just take that space to tune into your environment, to tune into nature, to tune into the people you care about around you. That's the most important thing. So from the beginning, the focus of me, the impetus for me writing the book, The Drummer in the Great Mountain, and eventually putting out this podcast was to have a point of view about ADHD that views it as a neurological type and not a disorder. And what was so heartening was to hear back from all of you saying, yes, we feel the same way. We've been artists. We've been doing all these things. We don't feel totally broken, but we have these certain areas that we struggle with. And it's hard to differentiate what is strength from what is challenge. And so that's been the journey. And we've been hearing from you. We get feedback from you. We put together podcasts that hopefully capture themes and ideas that are things you're struggling with that expand upon what I wrote about in The Drummer in the Great Mountain. What I can say is 10 years on to this podcast, 11 years since the publication of the book, I wouldn't change a lot. Most of the things that I talked about then still apply now. So a lot of the episodes coming up here in the next couple months with interviews with people from our audience are going to showcase what worked, like what worked over longer periods of time, not just for 2 months or 3 months, but years. And so I want you to take in, as you listen to some of these interviews, it takes time, it takes commitment. It's not easy. These aren't quick fix solutions. They involve self-awareness and mindfulness. It's about how you put your life together in a way that it leans things in your favor. And you'll be hearing from people that did that still struggle, just like I struggle every day, but they've been able to achieve amazing things as a result of leaning on their strengths and understanding what they need to do on a daily basis to keep themselves centered. So a couple requests. One is, if you have a success story or a story about something that we've shared on this podcast that's been helpful to you, please consider dropping us an email at info@drummerinthegreatmountain.com. I will share and read as many as I possibly can in the next couple episodes as we go through and do some of these interviews. So if you have a story, even if it's just something short, don't feel like you have to write something really long, drop us an email, info@drummerinthegreatmountain.com. And we're doing a bit of makeover on our drummerinthegreatmountain.com website. And I'm going to add a page on press and media that's going to showcase so many of the people that have mentioned this podcast. There's been interviews with people that have mentioned us recently, artists and professionals that have talked about us. There's been YouTube videos made on discussing the book, The Drummer in the Great Mountain. So I have done very little work in terms of actually showcasing any of that, and I feel really bad about it. So we'll be creating a whole page on The Drummer in the Great Mountain just to feature those mentions, as well as we'll be doing some press here on the 10th anniversary of this podcast. So we might be getting some articles written on us. So I'll be posting those there as well. And One other big request, and unfortunately, this is just the nature of living in the modern world, and I have major issues with it. So understand this is not me condoning how our world, especially the digital world, is set up. But we are ruled by algorithms. So when people do searches, if people are not interacting or liking our podcast, then people just don't find it. So if you wouldn't mind, if you're someone who's been listening to this podcast for a long time and you use like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, hop on, maybe give us a like, give us a rating on Spotify. If you're on Apple, maybe consider writing us a review. It so helps, even if it's just like 2 sentences. It helps keep people aware that we exist, and especially because the next couple of months, I think we're going to have some episodes that you're going to really like. If you're not on our email list, please consider going to drummerinthegreatmountain.com. Join the email list. I'm going to try to do some book giveaways, maybe some workshop giveaways here in the next couple months. I'm also going to be going through the archives and picking out some that I know that I've heard from many of you really liked, or if there was something very helpful from that particular episode, going back a ways. And I may add a little commentary at the beginning, give a little bit of context, maybe add something to that episode that I did not cover that I would have liked to have covered. So you'll definitely be hearing more from us over the next couple months, and I'm very much looking forward to that. And finally, just one quick announcement. We will have our next online time and task management workshop happening on August 16th and 21st. This is the masterclass. We do this once, sometimes twice a year. And it's primarily focused on helping you create systems that support greater accomplishment, consistency, follow through. It is really like, how do we approach time management with the hyper creative brains we have? Because so many of us struggle with keeping with a time management system, keeping with a planner, keeping with apps that we're using. So this one's really dedicated to how do we have the tools, create the systems that we can keep with and stay with. And we cover both all of the logistics of that, as well as on day 2, the second session's all about emotional management. How do we manage our emotions that come up that keep us from staying consistent with our time management system? I feel like that piece is so important. Otherwise, you can have all the tools in the world, but if you don't know how to manage when things come up or things derail you, the best tools in the world won't help. So specifically, we'll be covering why traditional time management techniques do not work for us, how to approach time management from an ADHD neurodivergent perspective, strategies for digital and paper-based or hybrid approaches to time management, note-taking strategies. We'll be talking a bit about mind mapping, the importance of mindful scheduling, knowing when to schedule certain tasks. And as I mentioned, the understanding the emotional components, getting into the nitty gritty of, okay, I've got this system. I've been working it for about a month and then I totally fell apart. How do I get back online again? This is about smarter, not harder. The entire workshop is just about finding ways that feel more intuitive for us to move through the world and specifically handle time management and task management. So we'd love to have you join us. You can go to drummerinthegreatmountain.com/workshop for more information, and you'll be connecting with all the people that listen to this podcast from around the world. So it's always fun, always get really good feedback from our time management workshop. So hope you can join us August 16th and August 21st. And that's it. So until next time, be well.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to learn more about the book, The Drummer and the Great Mountain, visit drummerandthegreatmountain.com. To join us on social media, click the links at the top of the homepage. Help us spread the word. We're a small press and reviews really help. If you've been enjoying the podcast or the book, consider writing a review on iTunes, Amazon, Goodreads, or your podcast app. If you're new to the podcast and want to quickly get up to speed on the concepts we discuss, check out our free 5-day mini course. Visit drummerandthegreatmountain.com/mini course. If there's a topic you'd like us to cover on future episodes, we'd love to hear from you. Please send us an email at info@drummerandthegreatmountain.com.